The final race on today's billing from the south of Spain, the Circuito de Jerez. Ángel Nieto is the fourth round of a thrilling 2022 FIM Network FIM Junior GP World Championship, and it's Hawker's European Talent Cup action today. Winner from 2021, Max Martinez, was beaten earlier by Dodo Poggio. Poggio becoming a new race winner, giving Italy their fifth in the class. What kind of drama lies ahead here? Race 2 is next. The final race of today here in what is now a sunny south of Spain. The Circuito de Jerez, Ángel Nieto, steeped in history, which comes right over the hillsides here. It's a brilliant venue. I'm Kiko Giles, alongside me, Steve English. For the final time today, Steve, we're going to go green. What can we expect here?
We can expect more of the same in the European Talent Cup. This is the class that the bikes are all identical. It comes down to the rider to make the most from it. It comes down to the team to make that rider feel comfortable out there as well. Dodo Poggio in this morning's race for the Aspar Junior team, really impressed with what he was able to do in the 47 to claim his first European Talent Cup success. But certainly that's no guarantee that he's going to be the race winner this afternoon, because you can expect to see the likes of Max Martinez on the number 28 machine looking to get himself back onto the podium.
This was race 1 earlier today, and you can see that it was a bit cloudy. Wasn't the sunshine that we have now that's soaking the circuit. But it was a great start from South African Roosh Moodley. He got the whole shot. He was in the top 5 for most of the race. Rian Uriarte ahead of Max Martinez and Dodo Poggio. Hakim Danish was in 4th place. Moodley, Salmela and Guillaume Plonk was right there. Max Martinez, late on the brakes as ever, would be pushing and shoving his way through, whilst the battle at the front consisted of 7 riders, a 14-wheel freight train going for Hawker's European Talent Cup glory. Max Martinez made a couple of mistakes throughout the race, and they were pounced upon by Rian Uriarte, who was looking as the favourite for victory at one point. But in the second half of the race, Dodo Poggio put in a very, very good ride. He started picking his way through. This was at turn 7. Whilst other riders crashed downfield. Poggio was consistent, and he looked very, very threatening in the final couple of laps. Down into the hairpin at Jorge Lorenzo turn, it was all action. Max Martinez, Dodo Poggio, it was very, very tight. It was a real battle at the front, and it exploded in the last couple of laps. This was Hakim Danish trying to get down the inside. That cost Max Martinez any chance of victory, and he tried doing the same in the last corner, bouncing up the inside, couldn't get it pulled down. Poggio delivered the goods as he blasted up to the line. It was the number 47 who took a career first win just from Rian Uriarte. Possibly more of the same to come. Race 2 promises to bring to a close the 4th round of the Junior GP class, of the Junior GP Championship and the Hawker's European Talent Cup class, to a close in fine style. And now, as you can see, the sun is out, the clouds have gone, but we've not gone anywhere. 28 degrees air temperature, 44 degrees centigrade track temperature. So, Steve, this is now the hottest these guys have had all day.
Yeah, that's come up by 5 degrees Celsius in the last hour, so you can imagine just how tough it's going to be out there for these ETC riders in these kind of conditions. There's not really much of a breeze blowing around Jerez. The last couple of days there was actually a nice cooling breeze that took the temperatures down from stiflingly hot to just sweltering, so that was quite pleasant for a couple of days. But today that has gone away completely, so now it is proper dry conditions out here, and very hot as well around the arid Jerez circuit. But certainly for these European Talent Cup riders, they've got the short straw this weekend to have the last race of the day in these conditions.
2 races, of course, for these guys this weekend. They only had one, I think it was Valencia, they only had one, so double the journey. This is the get to know, and this is Rian Uriarte, number 51.
Yo me llamo Brian Uriarte, corro con el equipo Monlau Motul Technical School. Corro actualmente en la categoría de Hawker's European Talent Cup y con el dorsal 51. El objetivo siempre no son las victorias, sino es el campeonato. Pero, hombre, una victoria o muchas victorias sientan bien. Mi objetivo es de aquí en adelante lograr todas las victorias posibles. Y si es el campeonato, pues bienvenido sea. 150 suena muy bien y espero poder conseguir alguna más también. Pero sobre todo, sin Monlau no podría haber conseguido esa victoria y muchas más que espero poder conseguir.
And here he is, Brian Uriarte, looking to build on what was second place in race one, narrowly missing out. One last time out in Catalunya, so he's a win and a second in the last two, 3 top 2 finishes in the last 4. He is one of the form riders, only 4th in the championship, 65 points, but it's close and he can close in because Joel Esteban is not here this weekend because he's got illness, but he is okay, he's recovering, and we will see him back soon.
Yeah, 30 points adrift in the championship standings for Uriarte, so a real opportunity for him to claw back some valuable points before the next round of the championship in Portimao in a couple of weeks' time. Portimao is another one of those single race weekends for the ETC, so they're running out of time now with only 5 races left this season, so really important for anyone that's got championship aspirations to take full advantage of Esteban being out this weekend.
Max Martinez starts from pole, didn't take victory in race 1. He was a double winner here last year, but with Esteban out and 53 points up for grabs, 13 points back into the title race, it's important nonetheless.
Yeah, really was important for Martinez to claw back some of the points that he had given up, but he would have wanted to finish on the podium. He had the pace to finish on the podium, just got himself outfoxed a little bit in those closing stages, but still, like you said, Kiko able to come away with 13 points in 4th. If he's able to come away with a podium in this race, he keeps himself in that contention.
Outfoxed in race 1, outboxed in race 1 for Guido Pini. He really struggled to lay a glove on any of the leading groups. Well, he's just laid a glove on the camera, he's heard me there. So Guido Pini, slightly subdued, worst race result of the year, but he's finished all races in the points.
Yeah, it's hard to say what happened to Pini because we didn't see him in race 1. He was struggling on the opening lap. He lost a few spots and then he lost touch with the leading group pretty much right from the outset. There was a leading group of 7 riders. He finished in 8th. He was about 14 seconds adrift of the race leaders, which equates out to just under a second a lap. So a lot of ground to make up for him, but certainly it'll be possible to do that. Conditions very different now with a much warmer afternoon and much hotter track temperatures.
We saw in Junior GP race 2, those who struggled in race 1 tended to come to the fore in race 2. Rico Salmela was in that leading group in race 1. Didn't quite show his potential, I don't think. He was there, but without doing too much.
Yeah, what was interesting was Rico set his fastest lap on the last lap in race 1, so clearly had pace at the end of the race, but just wasn't quite able to make the moves, had to settle for 6th position at the flag. So for him, the goal has to be just race. Obviously a front row start. He'll have aspirations for a podium, but that's going to be a big challenge as well.
4th on the grid, South African Roosh Moodley from Port Elizabeth. He got the whole shot in race 1 and was in the leading group right until the end, nearly got a podium. Can he do it this time around?
Well, for Moodley, it was a career best performance in race 1. You can see there his form has been trending upwards at times through the course of this season, and certainly round to round, we've been able to see him look pretty consolidated in the leading group, and that's a good performance from the 21. For him, if he's able to come away with 2 top 5 finishes from this weekend's racing, I think that's a really good sign of consistent progress. But top 5 is going to be a challenge for him to be able to back up what he did in race 1.
Brian Uriarte is 5th. We've seen him on the grid already, so we go straight to race 1 winner, Dodo Poggio. He was not Poggioing any job in race 1. He was absolutely on a mission. His first win in the class, age only 14, big future ahead for him.
Absolutely horrendous, Kiko, but Dodo was far from horrendous in the opening race today. Really strong performance, claimed the win by 23 thousandths of a second, so it was very close across the line between himself and Brian Uriarte. But again, this year we're seeing Poggio on the Aspar Junior team bike make big steps forward.
You should clarify that it was my bad sense of humour that was horrendous, not Poggio's first race win. He's ahead of Guillaume Plonk on the grid. Plonk is lining up 7th. Here he is, the number 24, the Frenchman, has come on strong. A very good race 1, the best we've seen of him.
Yeah, it was only a second adrift of the race victor at the end of it, and that's as good as we've seen from the French rider, and certainly for Plonk, he'll expect to be able to keep himself in those leading positions. You can see there already this season. In Valencia, he had an 8th place finish, 7th in race 1. If he's able just to keep himself in the top 10, then it's a good sign of consistency this weekend and good progress. I think it's always easy to look at it and think that riders are going to get better compared to race 1 performances. A lot of the times whenever you see riders have a big step forward from one week to the next, you just want them to be consistent into that next race.
Max Martinez is your pole sitter. Will he convert this one? Let's find out. Race 2 coming up. Umbrellas going down, engines are on. It is time for the final roll of the dice here. Round 4 of the Finetwork FIM Junior GP World Championship. I'm Kiko Giles, and for the final time today, alongside me, Steve English. Steve, you've not run away just yet, so what can we expect from this one? We had a new winner in race 1. Can we have another in race 2?
Yeah, I got an hour before I have to start running to the airport to catch my flight this evening, and we've been able to have some great racing in all 4 races so far today. I'd love to see it where we get a few riders able to get themselves into the mix once again in this race, because there's some riders that certainly disappointed in the opening race that day. Guido Pini from the front row of the grid ended up way back in 8th position. He's a rider on the 93 machine, needs to step up now in race 2. He's got 15 laps to try and pull back some serious points to the championship leader, Joel Esteban. There's a 14-point deficit for him. If he's able to come away with a podium, he takes that championship lead. It'll
be very interesting to see if he can, but of course it's never that easy here. The Hawkers European Talent Cup has been an absolute free-for-all in 2022, even though Joel Esteban has actually had the upper hand, but it has been a great championship so far. Track temperatures, we keep going on about them, but they are at the highest they've been all day. We'll see on our screen very soon how hot they are. A couple of riders to keep an eye on that we didn't get to in that. Hakim Danish is coming from 13th on the grid. He was right on the podium pace earlier on today, and in fact did take 3rd. Also, keep an eye out for Emmanuel Brinton from 9th. Got a jump start in race 1. Double long lap penalty. Ended his race for victory in the podium, but did fight back, got points, and was at one point fast rider on the track, Steve.
Yeah, I think for Brinton it's going to be important to be able just to make a clean start, not have those long lap penalties, and then see what you can do, because his pace was actually quite impressive at different times during that race. He's racing for the Australia Galicia team as well, so the Monlau team, same as Brian Uriarte, Hakim Danish at the front of the field, and then Rico Salmela as well in the front row. So they're riders that expect to be at the front of the field, and certainly for Brinton, he's got a good opportunity to be able to back up the pace that he had in race 1 with hopefully a better result in 12th, because that double long lap penalty really did cost him a lot.
Just for viewers back home in the UK and Ireland on BT Sport, we have Johnny Garness and Case O'Gorman. Garness, the Brit, and O'Gorman, the Irishman. Both of them strong riders, both making steps. O'Gorman in particular struggling this weekend, but now the temperatures are up. Could we see him back in the mix?
Yeah, for Garness on the 57 machine, he was able to come away with a couple of points paying finishes racing in the British Talent Cup. For Casey O'Gorman, I think it's going to be a big ask for him. He doesn't seem comfortable out there on the bike this weekend on the number 67 machine. He's racing for that Michael Laverty Academy team, the Vision Track squad, and it looks like it's just going to be a bit tough for him out there, but he's a rider that's had good form in the Red Bull Rookies Cup, and certainly he's been able to have good speed in the European Talent Cup, but not quite been able to get the results that I think some of his speed this season would warrant. But now he's going through a bit of a tough time with these bikes.
Who's your man to be in this race?
That man right there, Max Martinez, our pole sitter on the 28 machine. But I'm really excited to see what happens with the 93 of Guido Pini. He's got the chance to take the European Talent Cup Championship lead, and he needs to make sure he's able to finish on the podium for that. Rico looks pretty pumped up on the grid there.
I've just stepped backwards. I want to cross him in the paddock. So we are ready for the final time today then. Hawkers European Talent Cup, the 5th race of today's billing, the 5th and final race of today's billing. Lights will go on, and when we go out, we are racing at Jerez. Good start from everyone on the front row, particularly Salmela. Salmela, the number 27, got a great start, but it's Roosh Moody again. 2 whole shots from 2. It's a brilliant start. The number 21 South African has got there first. It's bumping and boring and pushing and shoving in the mid-pack, but everyone looks safely through again. 2 races from 2. We've got a clean start. Salmela dropped back to 4th. Martinez, like in race 1, back to 3rd. And that looks like Brian Uriarte there, up into second, but Roosh Moodley off and running again.
Yeah, really good start from Moodley there on the purple bike at the front of the field, and exactly what he needs to do in the 21 machine. Now for all these riders, it's about trying to keep yourself out of trouble all the way through these opening laps, because for Guido Pini from the front row of the grid, the 93 has got plenty of work to do. It looks like he's down in about 9th position now.
Yeah, he's got to do it all over again. This time, will he be able to do it? Dodo Poggio, race 1 winner. No jump starts, by the way. That's just been confirmed. Race 1 winner, Dodo Poggio, 47. Along the outside of Plonk and almost plonked off. Plonk almost absolutely wiped out Poggio. Poggio will not know how close he was, but the 24 of Plonk has just gone right down the order. Wow, that was a big moment.
I think he might have been pretty close to Al Suiti there as well, because the 71's lost a lot of ground and a lot of momentum there at turn 6. So the Qatari rider, who qualified quite well, has got a lot of work to do now to make his way up through the field. You can see there for Pini on the 93 machine trying to make some progress. He's behind Dodo Poggio, race winner and fastest lap from this morning's race.
Good start from Gonzalo Perez as well, up to 8th from, I think, row 4. He was a long way down. Yeah, row 4, 11th place. So Gonzalo Perez crashed out of race 1. He'll be looking to make amends in race 2. But at the front, it's his teammate, Roosh Moodley, who is doing the business. He is their race leader at the moment. Guido Pini up the inside. Then through comes, that's the 40. Is that the 40 that Cormac with Cannon? Surely not.
Buchanan made a great start from the 6th row of the grid. We saw him sweep down to the inside. Must have timed to perfection, because I'd been keeping an eye on him and it looked very close to a jump start. But like you said, Kiko, no jump starts out there. So Buchanan with an absolutely perfectly timed launch, and he's been able to take really good advantage of it in the opening lap.
The New Zealander then making a name for himself on lap 1 here. Race 2 of the Hawkers European Talent Cup as they come through the first sector. Other riders to keep an eye on. Casey O'Gorman up to 12th off the line, and the other one, Johnny Garnes, 19th. So a bit of time's fine for Garnes.
Carter Thompson as well, the Australian rider, able to make a lot of progress on the number 50 machine into the top 10 as well at the front of the field. O'Brien Uriarte able to retake the race lead.
Moodley in second, then he'll get a bit of a slipstream down this back straight. Sal Mellor in third. He was pumped up before this race. He'll be looking to take the lead down into turn 6. Danny Pedrosa corner if he can. He's late on the brakes. He's very, very small. He's got that power to weight advantage. We can't make amends. Max Martinez, the reigning champion, comes on through.
Yeah, and you can see this leading group. It's a lot bigger at this race than it was in this morning's race. Everyone able to keep themselves a lot closer bunched here. But at the front of the field, you can see Moodley on the 21. Oh, big crash in the background.
Wow, that was big. Didn't catch who that was. That looked like a red machine. I'm not quite sure it was. It looked like one of the Leglise Hondas, but Max Martinez is still upright. So we'll bring you that. That is a... Oh dear, the bike's so destroyed.
It's Garcia.
Oh dear.
And you're going to see it at the top of the screen. He's just lost it on the entry into that corner. Very fast section of the track. And he's able to walk away from that at least, because that's a good thing, because we've seen a lot of riders crash there and get some pretty bad injuries. So that's good to see for Garcia. But certainly he'll have to just live to fight another day in 2 weeks' time in Portimao.
Danish as well coming up through the order. That is again from so far down on the grid. Hakim Danish. Where did he start? I'm looking through the paperwork and I can't see him anyway. He's well down the order.
Down in the 5th row of the grid from Danish, and obviously really strong in race 1 to be able to come away with a podium. Dodo Poggio there in the 47, able to get down the inside into turn 1 as well. And Casey O'Gorman at the top of the shot there on the 67, able to pick off another couple of riders last time around. So on that 67, looks like he's into the top 10 now. So maybe I wrote off Casey a little bit early. He was a top 5 runner here in both races in the Red Bull Rookies Cup, so goes well at the red. But the team clearly making quite a few changes to that bike from this morning's race, and he's looking a lot more comfortable and confident out there.
Couldn't find Hakim Danish on my starting grid because I had the wrong starting grid, but he's there. He did come from the 5th row, so again another brilliant start for him. And as you say, Casey O'Gorman making progress. Anything Michael Laverty has to do with, though, you know that the process is a little bit longer, because it's well worth the while. And Casey O'Gorman's right there. He's inside the top 10. He's up into 9th place now. Uriarte ahead of Poggio, and then it's Moodley. Moodley's been impressive here. 3rd place and looking good. Poggio going for the inside. Can't make it work there. What are we seeing here? This is the... This is Sal Mellor getting pumped up. That was at the start, Steve. You
can see Buchanan there on the 14. Absolutely must have been timed perfectly for him. I think it's the 6th row of the grid, because he shot down the inside of a few riders there to try and make up some spaces. But certainly he was able to make good use of it off the line and get himself up into those points-paying positions in the early stages. He's now down to 20th spot, though, so got himself roughed up a little bit in the opening couple of laps. You can see at the front of the field, though, Uriarte trying to make sure he's able to hold on to that lead from Dodo Poggio.
Guido Pini is still in this as well at the moment. He's just coming up into 7th place by the looks of things. So Pini's still there, but the front three just starting to edge clear ever so slightly. Don't expect it to stay like that. You've got Max Martinez in 4th as Moodley looks at the inside of Poggio, can't get it done. So Moodley in 3rd place there. Poggio with the fastest lap, 49.2. Good stuff from Poggio as he chases down Uriarte. Max Martinez in 4th, Salmela in 5th.
That's just under a second slower than the pace we had in this morning's race as well, so that gives you an indication that as the track temperature comes up, just how much more difficult it is, even for these European Talent Cup bikes with not a lot of power, to be able to get whatever power they have, turn that into grip. So it does give you a good illustration of how tricky it's going to be out there for these riders.
And we saw in the Junior GP race, David Alonso in race 1 was a bit further back, but when the heat came up, he was right there. And it's a similar story with Guido Pini so far. Has a big opportunity to be championship leader leaving this race, and he's there in the leading group, 6th, and looking competitive.
Yeah, and it's also where Uriarte on the 51 machine at the front of the field, he knows he can leave here with a real chance of being able to keep himself in title contention going into the last couple of rounds. He's 30 points behind at the moment, so a race victory means that he's well within touch. There's 25 points for a race win if this is the first time you're watching European Talent Cup action. It's 25, 20, 16 for your top 3, so certainly for Uriarte and for Guido Pini, really important for both of those riders to pick up as many points as possible.
If it is your first time watching, where have you been? You've been missing out on some brilliant action, and this is no exception here. Race 2 at Jerez. Poggio building through these fast right-handers at the end of the lap. It's so crucial to get a good run through here to get the move done here at turn 13, but Linus Stern at the front at the moment. Guido Pini up the inside of Martinez. Martinez going backwards a little bit.
Martinez just doesn't seem to have that comfort level that you would have expected from him. It's been a pretty tricky start to the season for him in the ETC, but certainly on that 28 he needs to bridge that gap, because you can see it stretched out to just under a second now between Moodley and Salmela in 3rd and 4th position. Big look over the shoulder there for Moodley, though. He wants to see where those riders are behind him.
Doesn't need to worry too much just yet. Jesus Rios set first up, 49.1. That's him on the blue bike, just shoving out another rider. Not sure who that was, but there he is on the blue bike there.
Yeah, down in 11th spot there in the 45. He finished 11th in the opening race of the day as well.
Very good stuff indeed. Queso Gorman's up to 7th. He seems to be following Guido Pini's progress here. Pini's had to come back and fight through again. And Queso Gorman seems to be wanting to carry on. The rider at the front of that second group, the number 28, reigning champion Max Martinez, track limits warning. Yeah,
track limits obviously is always an issue for everyone to keep an eye on. We've already seen a long lap penalty given in one of the other races for exceeding track limits, so you've got to make sure you keep it on the curbs or you keep it between the white lines, otherwise race direction will look to give you a penalty for that. But for Martinez, he needs to just do everything he can to try and close up the gap to Poggio in front of him. But the more that the top 3 battle with one another, and we've seen Moodley move from 3rd to 1st, the more it's going to compress that lead group as well.
This race is far from over just yet. Guido Pini having a look on the inside at Salmela, couldn't get it done that time. Queso Gorman. We've seen Casey all weekend, and this is the best he's looked there in 7th place. He looks more at one with that bike again.
It's the best we've seen Casey look in the ETC since the opening races of the year in Estoril. He's been in good form in the Red Bull Rookies Cup at the start of the season. Lost his way a little bit the last couple of months in terms of his confidence out there, and certainly for the number 67, if he's able to find something here in the hotter track temperatures, that bodes very well. The Vision Track team did make big changes to that bike, a lot of suspension changes for them to try and find something with it, and maybe O'Gorman's now been able to find something. He had been suffering a lot of chatter before this point, but he looks a lot more confident now down the inside of Pini. That looks like he's up into 6th.
Great move from O'Gorman, and kept on the track as well. No track limits for him. So the 67 is making progress. The Irishman, one of the biggest prospects coming out of the UK and Ireland. He's been a multiple champion in the Cool Fab Series. When I was there, he was a fantastic rider, dominated that class, and anything he seems to touch seems to work. It hasn't quite been the case in ETC so far as he goes up to 5th place, but it's starting to click, and it's exciting times.
Yeah, coming into this season, he was really seen as the guy that could take the fight to Martinez. Both of them staying in the ETC because they just reached the point where they weren't able to move up because of the increase in the age limits for the Moto3 class. But both of those riders look like they've got a lot about themselves. But the ETC is a great leveler. Everyone out there on absolutely identical kit. It's up to you to make the difference.
And it's a great series for that, because as you say, it is the rider who can make the difference. It is the rider who can shine. That's why we have got such a big group at the front, because there's such a variety at the front of this group. Poggio has hit the front from Moodley ahead of Uriarte in third, Martinez fourth, and he's going to be coming under attack from O'Gorman. So it's the battle that they said pre-season.
Yeah, it looks like we've had one of the riders at the back of that group just lose a lot of spots and just falling down the order as well. It is easy for that to happen in a group like this, and certainly at the front of the field, Poggio doing a good job after being so consistent in the opening race.
Oh, Martinez was on the inside. He got the rear wheel off the ground, top rack style, down into turn 13. Casey O'Gorman looking at the inside into turn 1, really, of Uriarte. We've got yellow flags at turn 10. We'll get to that in a moment. Number 6-7 O'Gorman, no, doesn't think about it, but Moodley back to the front as well ahead of Poggio. This is just going to keep changing, Steve.
I think it's Rios that's gone down as well. He had been in that lead group after setting a very fast lap a few runs ago, but he's crashed out of this race. That was the rider from the lead group that we saw fall down.
Yeah, the blue bike, the number 45, hopefully he's coming up, he's okay. So Jesus Rios is out of this, and a bit of a shame, because he's had quite a few fastest laps at points throughout this season, but he's just not able to get that bike to the end. Poggio through into the lead as Moodley goes wide. Not sure if Moodley went wide or if it's just his line through there. O'Gorman's going to have a look as well.
We saw Moodley top 5 in the opening race of the day, but this is a really good performance by him to be able to back it up. But it is going to be difficult for him to be able to hold on to those podium spots. You can see just down the inside of Uriarte into turn 6, able to make that move from Moodley on the 21, and then a big look over his shoulder. No need for that whenever you've got a rider and a group of riders around you like this.
Number 57 is in this group as well. That's Johnny Garness. That's the other Michael Laverty Vision Track Academy bike. So brilliant stuff from Michael Laverty's team. The 67 of O'Gorman just under attack now by Pini. That's back to 5th. But Garness knocking on the door of the top 10, which is this leading group as well. Gonzalo Perez is also making progress as well. He's on the other purple bike. The number 21 is Moodley. Then it's Ferendez on the 54. Then it is Perez, who is, well, hang on, Perez is gone. Have I missed that? Perez has gone somewhere. Well, either way, Ferendez is making it work for the FIM Network team as well. Moodley's race leader though with 9 to go. Yeah,
Perez came into the pits last time around, so on that 25 machine, he's out of this one. But it is a leading group of pretty much all the way down through the points paying positions down to 15th spot. But it is a case of just trying to elbow your way out, create some space out there. Moodley able to find a little bit of space out at the front of the field on the 21 machine, then the Poggio on the 47, and then the 67 of Casey O'Gorman. Guido Pini, though, on the 93 machine, trying to make his progress. He knows if he finishes on the podium, he takes over the lead of the European Talent Cup Championship.
Other Brit in this group as well is Emmanuel Brinton. Brinton is looking very, very good in 7th place as well on the number 43. He's just behind the second purple bike in picture, the 54 of Alberto Fernandez.
Yeah, we saw Fernandez run wide there at turn 4. He had a quick look over his shoulder to make sure he wasn't going to come back on top of anyone else, and able to maintain his momentum. Brinton, in the opening race of the day, was given a double long lap penalty. That really did scupper any of his chances.
Moodley holds on. Casey O'Gorman up into 3rd place as Pini's looking on the inside. Max Martinez coming from a long way back on Brinton. Brinton holds on. Good stuff from the number 43. And Johnny Garness is in this group as well. So it's great for the Brits and the Irish here. Very, very good race. Very, very tight. Pini looking on the inside of O'Gorman at the asphalt turn. That's turn 8. Also in this group on the fluorescent blue bike, just in the middle of the shot, that's Hamad Al Sahuti. Already gave Qatar a best ever qualifying of the top 10. He was 10th on the grid. He dropped back in race 1, couldn't recover. He's dropped back in race 2, he has recovered. So be on Al Sahuti, because he's a rider who can really, really come good. He's got a bit of history, but he's good.
Yeah, he's been able to qualify very well all the way through this season inside the top 15, so his speed is good, and he's a former ATC podium finisher as well, so he can mix it out at the front of the field in these Talent Cup races.
Yeah, he's right there. There's a moment in the middle of that pack. I think it was for Poggio on the exit of turn 13. All this fight is giving Rouge Moody a slight breather at the front as Brian Uriarte comes on through at turn 1 on Casey O'Gorman. O'Gorman's going to be snapping straight back, you can be sure of that, into turn 2, and does so. The 67 back into 2nd place as Guido Pini's looking on the inside as well. This is an absolute battle and a half at the front of this. Uriarte at turn 4, O'Gorman will sweep. Oh, O'Gorman tried to sweep across and couldn't, pushes himself out wide. Uriarte, a big, bold move at turn 4 now. Gorman just going back a bit.
Yeah, well, Gorman, he had 2 top 5 finishes here in the Red Bull Rookies Cup earlier in the season. He's been able to run inside the top 10 pretty much everywhere in the Rookies Cup. But in the ETC, it's been a little bit more of a challenge for him. But good to see him finding a little bit of form now. He's had 3 top 5 finishes, though, this season. So for O'Gorman, the last couple of rounds, well, which have been difficult for him, at least now finding his good form again. And
how important is it for a rider to have that one good ride, Steve?
Well, I think the one thing about it is, for someone like O'Gorman, he's had the speed all the way through this season. He qualified in the front row of the grid last time out in Catalonia, but this weekend has been really tough for him. And it's where that momentum, when it starts to shift a little bit after a crash in Catalonia, he wasn't really able to build on 2 top 5 finishes in Valencia. You go into the Rookies Cup, you have a tough weekend at Sachsenring. Momentum is it's the toughest thing in racing. And certainly once it starts to go against you, you really do feel like the world is starting to turn. But once you find that one bit of form, you can really come good again.
A glimmer of hope is sometimes all it takes. And with just over 6 laps to go, Casey Gorman sitting pretty, but Rouge Moodley, what a fantastic ride. Oh my goodness me! Max Martinez made a beeline for an apex that didn't even exist, but somehow he created one. Wow, Max Martinez, well, if he wanted to be back in this title race, he's going to have to be making moves like that, and he got it done on Emmanuel Brinton and Hakim Danish, and he's going to try and do the same on Guido Pini, but he can't. The AC Racing team rider holds on, as does Rouge Moodley at the front from Breen Uriarte. Uriarte, in race 2 in Catalonia, was able to outdrag.
Ooh, that looked like it might have been Rico Salmela having a big moment through turn 2.
Dear me, Salmela's right back in the pack now, but in Catalonia, Uriarte was able to outdrag Joel Esteban, your current championship leader, to the line. He couldn't do it in race 1 here. There's not enough time to outdrag someone to the line. He's sitting second at the minute. He needs to make his move for the final corner, or before we get onto that straight on the last lap.
Yeah, calm yourself down, Kiko. We've still got 5.5 laps to go. That's a lifetime in the European Talent Cup.
It's very true. I don't know why we get excited. Poggio's now come through, look. So Poggio, the 47, back into the lead. He was the race 1 winner. And that went down to the final corner as well. Moodley just back into second, but Uriarte, every time someone gets ahead and takes the lead, he's always there in second place. Very good riding from Uriarte.
Yeah, he's been smart all the way through today's races. In this morning's opening race, he was able to come away with 20 points for second spot. He knows that has to be the target. Come away with podiums just to make yourself in a position to keep the pressure on Joel Esteban whenever he comes back. Of course, Esteban out this weekend with illness, but he should be back in 2 weeks' time in Portimao, when suddenly the season really does come down to crunch time. You've got 1 race in Portimao, and then you've still got a double header in Aragon and a single race to finish the year in Valencia. So the clock is ticking down on the ETC season, and that's where it becomes really important for any of the championship contenders to get themselves in as many points as possible. So for Guido Pini as well on the 93, getting himself into those podium spots, or at the very least holding on to that top 5, really is important.
Yeah, very important indeed. And the other thing as well is, by the time we get out of Jerez, you would imagine Esteban is going to be back, and it just taking easy points becomes harder, as does holding on to the lead. If you're Breen Uriarte, he's being shoved out by Poggio again. Poggio pushes back, and that is just bringing Casey Gorman and Rouge Moodley back into play.
I like that, though. He had the bike all the way cranked over on the curb, trying to just find whatever drive he could. He wants to try and hold on to that lead. He's managed to do that in front of Dodo Poggio, but this is a big group now at the front. You can see it goes all the way back to what looks like Plonk at the back of that field, which is 14th position, and then you've got a 3-way fight for the last points-paying position. Johnny Garnes a couple of seconds behind.
14 bikes in the leading group. You don't see this every day, but this is Jerez, and it does give great racing. 4.5 laps to go. Uriarte on the 51 trying to make a move, as is the 67 of Casey Gorman, who slots behind him into second place. But Uriarte, your winner from Catalonia, is now at the front of this snake. It's incredible. It's the fastest moving snake in the land, it looks like. Poggio on the inside, can't quite get it done, but Guido Pini's trying to shove out Alberto Ferendez. Ferendez, good ride from Ferendez from the middle of row 5, I think, 14th on the grid.
Yeah, snake riders at the front, and this is ideal weather for a snake as well. 45 degrees track temperature, so it's tough to find the grip out there. It's tough for the riders to deal with this as well. This is where, even though most of these riders are 13, 14 years of age, they all spend a lot of time in their physical training so that they're able to give themselves the best chance possible of being as fit as possible through this race, to give themselves every chance of being able to come away with a podium spot.
Okay, so Gorman just trying to Sneaked through there on Uriarte. Couldn't get it done this time around. We crossed the line. We will have 4 laps to go. Number 93, that's a track limits warning for Guido Pini. Can't afford to do that. He's second in the championship as it stands. He needs to be on the track. He cannot be taking long lap penalties. He will lose so many points that he won't get back in it either. It's a big old group, and well, at this stage of the race, it's just a bit too late to be trying to make up time. 14
points is the deficit between himself and Joel Esteban in the championship standings. So the key for him is just to make sure you're able to come away with the top 5, and then you're down to the last 4 races of the year, a real shootout for the ETC. You can see there are a lot of riders exceeding track limits on the run through turn 4, but at this stage there's only been a handful of riders given that warning, so nothing to be too concerned about right now. Even for Pini, he still has one more time that he's able to exceed track limits, and then he'll get the penalty if he does it once more after that.
I was just going to come on to that, because we haven't seen, as Casey O'Gorman hits the front, the number 67 leads.
Yeah, O'Gorman hasn't led a lap so far this season in the ETC, needs to lead across the line to officially lead a race, but this is good showing from him to come through from that 6th row start.
Very, very good stuff from the number 67 as he bounces his way into turn 8. He has now got a track limits warning though.
And that'd be for exceeding turn 4, where we just saw him a couple of corners ago. But 3 laps to go at when they come across the line. Still a case very much in this group of everyone just having to give it what they've got.
O'Gorman leads the way then. Your race leader is on a track limits warning, as is the rider in 5th place, who's second in this championship, Guido Pini. O'Gorman with clear track. When he gets to the front, normally he's able to stay there. He's out wide again though. He doesn't want to be doing that. He won't actually know if he's had the warning or not until he comes to the pit board, where the Michael Laverty Vision Track Academy team will be there holding it out, potentially with a warning sign on it. O'Gorman, 3 laps to go as he crosses the line, looking finally now leads a lap in the Hawkers European Talent Cup, but looking good as Guido Pini dives to the inside up into 4th place.
Good move by Pini on the 93 machine to get down the inside there. Max Martinez, 3 laps to go. He's got 3 more riders to get through on to take this race victory. Pini second in the championship standings as it is right now, but Joel Esteban out of this race, so this is the chance for Brian Uriarte on the 51, Pini on the 93 to make up big points and give themselves a chance of winning the ETC this year.
So far, O'Gorman has not had a podium in this season, but he's doing well in the Red Bull Rookies. He's leading this race. 2nd place at the moment, Dodo Poggio. Hadn't won a race before coming into this round. Was a race winner in race 1. Alberto Ferendez, the 54, 14th on the grid, now in with a shout too.
Really interesting tactic there from Ferendez and from O'Gorman on the 67 machine. Both of them holding on that left-hand side of the track. That looks like it's Salmela that turn 6, that's him out of that lead group, but both those riders holding the left hand side of the track rather than taking that narrow line down the right hand side, and a little bit of a different strategy than we've seen in any of the races so far today.
What could that mean, Steve? Why are they doing that?
They're just trying to make it where they're in a slightly different area of the racetrack. They don't want to get themselves boxed in by anyone else, and obviously for O'Gorman as well, he knows that there's a track limits warning for him. We've seen a lot of riders go down that narrow side using the slipstream, getting caught in the slipstream and then getting pushed into the blue paint there as well. So maybe just slightly different strategies there at this stage. Also, they don't want to show the full hand.
What a move. Casey O'Gorman, oh dear, he's gone out one wide there, and he made the move as well at turn 12. Good move from O'Gorman. He's pushed back, and now Ferendez. Oh, Ferendez, he's pushing and shoving. He's forcing a gap where there isn't one, but he's got through into 4th.
Yeah, O'Gorman though lost a spot there, so maybe that'll be enough to make him not get a penalty from race direction, and wait and see what happens for that. But it was pretty clear he was over the blue at one stage, but makes a move into turn 1 now.
Fingers crossed. So 2 laps to go then, and O'Gorman is back into 2nd place. Ferendez looking up the inside of the 93 Guido Pini. That is for 4th place. This snake of riders, this is going to go right down to the wire. Brian Uriarte has got a couple of tenths of a second here at the front as he tries to continue his charge towards the title lead. He won't lead it at the end of this, but he will be within 5 points if he takes victory of Joel Esteban.
Yeah, just really quickly on Ferendez. Oh, a big moment for Pini there as he comes over to Cedar Pond's corner. Ferendez on the 54 machine came into this season, a lot of expectation on him to do really well. He hasn't lived up to that expectation in the ETC, but in the Italian Championship, he's been able to be really strong. 4 podiums out of 4 races in that.
Lap and a half to go. We got a crasher
that's
at the back.
Al-Saouti.
That's Al-Saouti, the Qatari rider, who was on for points here, and he's not going to get them anymore. He's on the deck, so I think he took one, might have took Danish with him. So we'll get to that in a moment. Just over a lap and a quarter to go. We are coming through the final sector for the penultimate time. Uriarte's been reeled in by race 1 winner Dodo Poggio. Saouti is out. He's not going to rejoin. Back at the front, Dodo Poggio is right on the case here. Casey Gorman is also on the case, and Ferendez is shoveling him along. This is going to go right down to the final corner, I'm fairly sure of it. Through turn 12 for the penultimate time. That's going to be crucial on the final lap. Down into the final corner for the penultimate time. Ferendez trying to push and shove, and he did shove as well. There was contact there with Ferendez and O'Gorman. Last lap time, who's it going to be?
Yeah, there's a fair bit of rubber being put onto the ladders there, Casey O'Gorman. If you look at his back, there's an awful lot of black there, but you can see at the front of the field, Poggio trying to get down the inside, take the race lead, but really good defensive riding there from Uriarte.
Very good stuff indeed. Uriarte's looking good. Just a quick one at the start of this lap. It's the last lap. If you exceed track limits, you will be demoted a place, and that doesn't matter, because if you are down there, that looks to me like it could have been
Carter or Thompson there, maybe.
Yeah, I think it may well have been, but that's a disaster down there. Whoa, Gorman was, Peony was out on the green there. Gorman was pushing track limits for sure, but Dodo Poggio, this is where he is so good. Building through there. It's his Carter Thompson who's gone down. The Australian champion, well, he'll get another chance at Portimao. Poggio has swept through into the lead. We've got half a lap to go. 47 leads. Ferendez lets the brakes off. O'Gorman nearly gets his front end wiped it. This is going to be dramatic in the last couple of sectors.
Yeah, the last couple of corners is what it's going to come down to. Who's going to have the momentum through the fast corners at the end of this lap? And certainly for Poggio, we know how good he was in race 1. He's going to have his work cut out for himself, though, because these other riders are going to build the momentum in that slipstream behind him.
Has Poggio timed this to perfection again, or will Uriarte have something to say? Ferendez was loose on the front, but he gets it pulled down. O'Gorman is sitting pretty in fourth as long as he doesn't exceed track limits, but this is the run to home for the final time today. Poggio leads the way, won race 1. It's his first win. Will he double up on a debut like Max Martinez did last year in 2021? Ferendez almost ran up the back of Uriarte. O'Gorman's on the brakes. Surely not. Oh my goodness me, what a move. Third to first. They've all got through. Casey O'Gorman for Ireland is going to try and deliver a win for Michael Levity's team, but he's been milked on the line, and Dodo Poggio does double up in the end. Unbelievable final corner. They threw the house out of its own front window, and we have just self-combusted here in the comms box. Unreal scenes. Dodo Poggio, a winner. Again, it's a double. It's a debut double for Dodo Poggio. Casey O'Gorman, how much did he try there? It's a first podium of the season in an incredible Orcas European Talent Cup race. Well, we have leapt right off the scale as far as drama is concerned. What a fantastic race that was. Dodo Poggio, you just are the man today. The Italian, it's a 6th win for Italy. It's his 2nd of his career. His first was only earlier. So a great effort from Dodo Poggio. What a race. Well, what an incredible battle. Dodo Poggio is your winner in the most incredible of circumstances. The 47. Well, that has propelled him right back up into the mix. I must say, Brian Uriarte got 3rd behind O'Gorman. Alberto Ferendez was 4th. Max Martinez 5th. Emmanuel Brinton took 6th. Guido Pini, I think the track limits warning was just hanging over him a little bit there in the end. He got 7th ahead of Lorenz Tony Luciano, the Belgian. Rouge Moodley was shuffled back down to 9th, and Guillaume Plonk, after his lap 1 misdemeanor, recovers to a top 10. Hakim Danish in 11th. Cesar Perea, he took 12th place. I should say the fastest lap of the race was actually a 49.022 by Tony Luciano, the Belgian rider. But look at the scenes on the screen here. Casey O'Gorman overjoyed with 2nd place. Now, I got this slightly wrong in JuniorGP when there was a late race direction change for the podium, and it was Eddie O'Shea who got on the podium instead of David Alonso. I I haven't had anything on the timing monitor to say that the podium or any results are under investigation, so I believe the top 3 will be as they are. Uriarte arrives to the podium. It arrives to Bartolome in 3rd place. So Gorman with a round of applause as well in 2nd. With Dodo Poggio, Super Dodo Poggio, there it takes another race winner, just completing the points here. Cesar Perea took 12th, 13th was Rico Salamella, Pau Alsina was 14th, and Johnny Garnes, another point-scoring ride, 15th, despite being in that leading group, but a very, very good ride indeed. Both of them lost a little bit of time, Alsina and Garnes, at the end, but look at this from Dodo Poggio. Fantastic stuff from the number 47, who has very much made a name for himself here today in the heat of Jerez. And we are just seeing on our timing monitor that because of exceeding track limits, Casey O'Gorman from 2nd place to 3rd. Well, that is just, that's the race rules. It's a bit of misfortune as well in the heat of the last lap battle, but it's still a podium nonetheless. He's got plenty to be happy about going back home. So 2nd place is Brian Uriarte. Now that is important for the title. That's very, very good indeed from Uriarte. The championship is going to be very interesting here though in the European Talent Cup, because of course there is no Joel Esteban, and that is a big, big blow to his championship, although by my calculations he will still lead it at least. We will find out very, very soon. No, I cannot do mental arithmetic, so I can't actually do many things regarding numbers, but Casey O'Gorman still 3rd and number 67. Plenty of reason to still be happy. 2nd, Brian Uriarte, and 1st, of course, a double win for Dodo Poggio. Last year, Max Martinez took his 1st win at Jerez, and he went on to do the double. So, is Dodo Poggio just starting now to come into a bit of form. The win earlier put him right in contention for the title. This was earlier in the lap. That was Carter Thompson, the number 50, going down out of what would have been a fantastic result. And this is on the last lap. Ferendez gets pushed out. I think he nearly hit O'Gorman. O'Gorman with a sublime overtake in the final corner. Poggio just slices under them though. And O'Gorman looking, he knew what was coming. Poggio just got such drive coming on down the straight. An elation for Poggio, dejection for Gorman, and even more would come when he got penalised and demoted 1 place. But still, nonetheless, a fantastic ride. But the race honours really do go to Poggio. A fantastic effort from the Italian. It will make for an interesting championship read, and we'll get to that in a bit of in a moment. We've got the race results first, and we'll get race highlights as well. And of course, we'll get the winner's thoughts again. Dodo Poggio spoke very eloquently in race 1, about his 1st career victory. He was very, very happy with that. I wonder if he'll be very, very happy again. He'll just getting weighed in now. And then he should be joining Steve English, who's already down there. You can see him in the background, ready to do the interview, the winner's interview. What a season it's turned out to be. Joel Esteban has won a race in this class. Brian Uriarte won last time out in Catalonia. Max Martinez has won, and now Dodo Poggio has won. He's won twice. He's with Steve.
Dodo Poggio, what a day. 2 race victories here in the European Talent Cup.
Yeah, incredible day. 2 victories for me. This is the first time to win here, and this is the second in the same day. Incredible day. A very difficult race also did, because there was a lot of hot. But we last corner, two rider passed me, but I do the correct line and I exit to the corner second, and in the straight I pass O'Gorman. I have to tell thanks to my sponsor, Talenti Azzurri, la federazione, e ora è una pronta guarigione a Joel.
And some words in Italian as well, Dodo?
È stata una gara bellissima, molto difficile, faceva molto caldo, ma sono riuscito all'ultimo giro ad arrivare primo. All'ultima curva mi hanno passato
in 3, ma sono riuscita a fare la linea giusta, uscire secondo e sono riuscita a passare Gorman sul rettilineo e gli chiedo scusa per averlo toccato, non era mia intenzione. E ringrazio tutti i miei sponsor, la federazione, i talenti azzurri e un grazie per queste gare al mio team.
Great job, Dodo.
Well, race 1 was a belter, race 2 was incredible. Right from the start, it was an absolute manic race at the front. We had this big moment. This was Guillaume Plonk just going a little bit wide. And at the front, Ruche Moodley was leading away ahead of Brian Uriarte. Uriarte snapping straight back, and the two would change hands. At the back, there was a bit of a crash, and that was all over. Further down the order, Jesus Rios set the initial fastest lap before he too would also follow suit into the gravel trap. Casey Gorman on the number 67 was making a name for himself, and it was a very good ride from the Irishman, and he was leading at one point, whilst Dodo Poggio, race 1 winner, was looking to double up in the same way that Max Martinez did in 2021. First race win coming then, and then race 2 would go to him as well. Gorman up into second ahead of Uriarte. Guido Pini with the opportunity to become title leader didn't capitalise as much as pre-anticipated, and he had to settle further down the field come the end of the race in 10th place, despite being in the podium mix for all of the 15-lap encounter. Hamad Al Sahuti was a crasher as the number 71 Qatari rider threw away a top 10, and then Carter Thompson, the number 50, went down as well in the closing stages. It was a hectic final corner as Casey O'Gorman put this majestic pass on to hit the front before he got out-dragged to the line by Dodo Poggio, and Brian Uriarte would later go on to inherit second due to Casey O'Gorman exceeding track limits. But Poggio, unbeatable in the heat of Jerez in race 2. He will be very, very happy with that. He's right in contention for the championship now. Can he capitalise? Time will tell. And now time for the podium. Steve English is back with me now for the final time today. Steve will get the podium, and what a race that was.
Yeah, great race once again from the ETC, and great performance by Dodo Poggio to take 2 race victories today. Really impressive from Casey O'Gorman as well to find something here in race 2 after what's been a pretty difficult weekend, and hopefully for him that's what gives him that momentum for the rest of the season. Same can be said for Dodo Poggio as well. 2 weeks until the next round in Portimao, and Poggio's really given himself a real chance now for the championship as well. He's going to probably taken over the championship lead now after that.
We'll soon see the championship standings, but by a point we believe Poggio will be the championship leader. Of course, we'll get confirmation of that later on. But Poggio on the podium, Casey O'Gorman, how good is that to see the Irishman there in third?
Yeah, and for Poggio, I think he came into this one 49 points behind, so the double win will put him up a point clear of Joel Esteban. This man, Brian Uriarte, is going to be within 10 points of Esteban as well, so that'll be 11 points in the championship. So we've got a real battle with 4 races remaining in the championship.
We had a worry at Estoril that Esteban would run away with this, and it turns out that might not be the case. Okay, he's absent, but he still has been reeled in. This is the national anthem of Italy for the second time in the European Talent Cup today.
Fuerte el aplauso para Dodo Poggio.
We didn't get 5 different winners today, but we did get a first-time double winner in Dodo Poggio. What a way to end the programme here. Of course, we have to have a look at the race results and the championship standings, but we do get a debut podium for Casey O'Gorman, and I know, Steve, you're going to be particularly happy about that, as is Michael Lambert.
Yeah, I think for O'Gorman, we've really been able to see a big step forward, and that's a really impressive performance by him all the way through. But you have to give the attention to Dodo Poggio on a day like this, because that was 2 perfect races from him to give him the championship lead.
Sublime racecraft all day for Dodo Poggio, and he put himself in a perfect position to double up. He's a race winner in race 2 at Brian Uriarte, and Casey O'Gorman 3rd place for him. Alberto Fernandez from 14th on the grid took 4th. Max Martinez not being able to capitalise on pole position. He was only 5th. Emmanuel Brinton with a career best 6th, ahead of Lorenz Tony Luciano, who set the fastest lap of the race. Guido Pini could have taken the title advantage today, but he didn't. He was only able to finish 10th despite running inside the top 3 for most of the race. Whilst the final point scoring place went to the other Michael Laverty Vision Track Academy, 15th with Johnny Garness. There's plenty of riders all the way through. Cormac Buchanan made an absolutely electric start. The New Zealander coming home at the end in 21st position. Crashers included Carter William Thompson, the number 50, was out of action on the closing stages. Hamad Al-Sahuti also crashed out of the leading group, as did Jesus Rios, whilst Gonzalo Perez came into pit lane. And maths, obviously a strong point for Steve English alongside me. 96 points is the lead for Dodo Poggio. It's the title amount for Dodo Poggio. He's got a point lead over Joel Esteban. Guido Pini does close in, only 9 behind. Brian Uriarte is 11 back, but Steve, Dodo Poggio leading away to Portimao in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I didn't do Guido any favours there. I forgot about him, and up there in 3rd spot now for Guido. But 11 points between these riders with 4 races to go. This is what you need for the ETC. It's going to be really exciting.
It's been very exciting indeed, and we have been enjoying bringing you the coverage from the Circuito de Jerez Ángel Nieto here in Andalusia, Spain, the south of Spain. We have got 2 weeks until Portimao, where there'll be 1 European Talent Cup race, 2 Junior GP races, and 2 Moto 2 races. And all 3 title battles are well and truly alive. We'll come through till the end of the programme in a moment as we get through the end of the championship stand into the Hawkers European Talent Cup. And of course, if you're missing action in July, then of course you can tune in to World SBK as well. But Dodo Poggio is your man to close the show. He has been fantastic today. A double in style. Racecraft, very, very good throughout. I've been Kiko Giles, and alongside me, Steve English. Until next time, we'll see you then. Thanks for tuning in. Goodbye.